Carmel Sepuloni.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I just want to reiterate some of what I said in my first speech and then also just elaborate a little bit more on that. We have concerns about this bill because of the fact that it takes away the rights of those who would have been eligible for an additional day paid out of their benefit from 1998 till May 2014. So the government, in terms of the SOP that the Minister was just talking about, is trying to make allowances so that those who would have been eligible between May 2014 to September 2015, so that there is a window of time for them to actually put in a claim, but she's ignoring everyone from before May 20th, 2014. Now, I can understand their immediate concern with that group that they are accounting for in their supplementary order paper. I guess there's a sense of urgency there for them and probably some legal obligations and possibly legal ramifications if they don't do it. Mr Speaker, that's pointed out in the departmental disclosure statement where it's made very clear in section 4.9 where any other unusual provisions or features are discussed. And it's stated here, Mr Speaker, quote, to acknowledge that the Ministry of Social Development's operational practice should have been amended when the error was discovered on 20th of May 2014. Clients whose benefits were commenced on or after 20th of May 2014 may apply for a review of decision of that commencement date in the 6 weeks after the legislative correction is made, and the retrospective amendment will not apply to their decisions. So legally, the government should have done something immediately, but they didn't, Mr Speaker, and today we've heard national government members stand up and say there is a sense of urgency with respect to introducing this bill. Well, there actually should have been a sense of urgency on the 20th of May 2014 when this error was discovered. So many members across the House have said that this is really just correcting a technical error and that the intent of the bill was that they would always be the intent of the bill is being corrected and that was always there. But Mr Speaker, actually none of us were there at that select committee. None of us were, well, very few people in this House were in government at the time that the bill was going through. So I find it really interesting that so many new members of Parliament, as new as me or even newer, are saying that the intent of the bill was clear. It would be interesting during committee stages to hear from the two members that are still in the House, who I believe were on the Social Services Select Committee at the time in 1998 when this bill was passed, and that was Jerry Brownlee, who was Deputy Chair then, and Annette King. We're looking forward to her contribution at committee stages. She's holding herself back. She really wanted to speak in the second reading, but we've allowed Poto and Annelise Galloway to take the next two speeches. But Annette will make a contribution at the committee stages. So Ruth wasn't on the select committee at that time. So, Mr Speaker, that's our concern, that those people are being denied the right to make a claim. But also, there are issues with this particular bill, Mr Speaker. We're disappointed that there's no regulatory impact statement for this bill. You know, the government's secrecy around the retrospective removal of natural justice for those who are owed arrears between 1998 and 2014 is highlighted in the lack of a regulatory impact statement to accompany the bill. So I know that there are situations where a regulatory impact statement is not required, but given that even from the outside, you know, even from a person who's not necessarily that actively involved in politics, there is potentially, well, there is a huge impact to this bill. You would think that the government would do the responsible thing and provide us with a regulatory impact statement. And the impact really is that this bill will ignore the thousands of people who had stand-down periods between 1998 to 2014 and were denied at least 1 day pay. For those that were in and out of work, they were denied multiple days of pay, Mr Speaker. So it's disappointing that there's not a regulatory impact statement. Mr Speaker, We've heard from the Minister about the fact that there was some attempt to negotiate around this, and I want to acknowledge, if I haven't done already in the House, that this era, yes, it may have occurred when the bill was drafted back in 1998, but it continued, the technical era continued under both National and Labor governments. So, of course, out of good faith, we did contact the government to see whether or not we could work on this together to come up with a solution. And a couple of the things that the government did do were good. I won't deny them that. They took it out of the Youth Services Remedial Matters Bill, and they've done it separately. That needed to be done. They've also made sure that there is a window of opportunity for anyone that was affected by this during the time that the government was aware of it, so from May 2014 to September 2015. That's a good thing. So the only thing that we're concerned about, as I said earlier, is the number of people, and particularly those people that would have been in and out of work that have something that stand to lose something from not being able to make a claim. The only thing we're concerned about is that the government's still not providing an opportunity to do that. Easy solution is the SOP that I've put up, which delays the commencement date of the bill. That provides an opportunity for those people to be informed, to get their papers in and to make a claim. It's only a 6-week delay that SOP is asking for, but 6 weeks is enough time for people like Kay Breton, who's been amazing throughout this whole process, beneficiary advocates like Kay, to get the word around so that anyone who wants to make a claim is able to do so. And I just want to reiterate that the chances are most people won't be bothered doing it. But it is about natural justice, and it's about making sure that they are at least given the opportunity to do so, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to perhaps touch on another couple of things in here. Actually, no, I think I've covered everything off. I know that the Greens have put up an SOP to delay the commencement date as well. Theirs is 6 months, ours is 6 weeks, but the intention is the same there. It's to provide that window of opportunity for people to make an application and put forward a claim. I think they've also got an SOP up there that requires that the government actually promote it or advertise it so that people are made aware of their rights and their right to make a claim during a fair process. I'm looking to see what the government does. I'm disappointed in New Zealand First, but we'll talk to some of the other members apart from Derek Ball at a later stage today. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.